even when they wear like lotion or something, like their skin is still kind of crusty. It's like, damn, dude, what the hell you been doing? Washing your hands with bricks or sandpaper or something? Because I can't imagine the president thumbing out or all these tweets on his phone that he's on Twitter every day. I don't think there's been one day of his presidency that he's not tweeted something. So, but in any case, I digress. I'm President Trump actually believes in some of the stuff that he's saying. Not all of it. Some of the stuff he just says, in jest. But some of the stuff he actually believes. Like this, I thought this whole voter fraud thing, I thought he was actually just saying that to get his supporters to stay with him and believe that, he's still the man who's doing a great job and can fix everything, and that he really truly should have won that election. But I think he actually does believe it. I don't think it's fake at all. I think he's actually deluded himself into thinking that he can't lose anything unless it's rigged, because he said that before. It's not just this election that he started saying something was rigged. He said it even when he won, that the election is rigged. He said the Republican primaries were rigged whenever he lost one of those. There's several primaries. So President Trump says that all the time. But these conspiracies, I think he actually believes them. At first it didn't dawn on me that he was believing in some of this stuff it's just nonsensical. Most of it is. Some of this stuff is worth checking out. But then when you fact check him, he hates that too. Can you imagine a guy one of the doctors at Walter Reed, and that's what we're going to get in a little bit. Right now we're going to pause though before we get into it. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to a man who's so sexy it's completely ridiculous. Mr. Anthony Scott Dover. Yummy.
Thank you, young lady. You're not so bad yourself. All right, we're back. I know I said we were going to get into this thing about President Trump's beliefs, but there's something I forgot to mention that was pretty big last week. And that was the bombing in Nashville. There's a guy, Anthony Warner, some nut job, some kook, some crazy guy who drove a van with a bomb in it into I think it was a small business in downtown Nashville. Oh, I don't remember exactly. I should have got all the numbers right. If anyone was killed or not, but this happened on Christmas Day in Nashville, Tennessee, where Anthony Warner, nut job of the week, blew up had a bomb in the back of a van and drove through the door and window of one of these little shops in the downtown area and set off this bomb, and he killed himself. Subsequently, the bomb killed him and I don't know if it killed anybody else. I can't remember if it killed anyone else. I don't think it killed very many people, but I've seen that. And I didn't really see a lot of people talk about it. I seen it on the news. But I think it happened, first off, it happened on Christmas Day, so this guy was going around saying that he was going to be famous, telling other people that he was going to be famous, and they didn't know what he was talking about. But he was referring to the bomb that he was about to set off. And see, that's just where we're at in our society. That's a sad thing, because this idiot asshole setting off a bomb, could kill a lot of people, ruin a lot of people's lives who survive it. It's just thinking about being famous. You're going to be dead, Junior. You're going to be no longer alive to worry about being famous. And you're not that famous anyway. You're just a weird nut job who set off a bomb and probably killed a couple of innocent people in the process. But it wasn't like a real crowded area. It wasn't like some of these nut jobs who go to places and shoot up the place. This guy set off a bomb in a relatively small area, a building, and that wasn't populated. The area wasn't populated. So he really just tore up some property and killed himself in the process on Christmas Day. So that happened, and I forgot to mention it last week. So for those of you who are listening to this podcast to get your news from this podcast, you should be watching some channel that has legitimate news every single day on there, instead of a guy who forgets some of the main details of the news once a week on the podcast. But I will bring you actual stories. I will mention actual things that have happened in the world and in our society. So yes, I was just saying to myself not too long ago that it's been a while since we've had a mass shooting, which I was glad about. Maybe these guys have stopped wanting a copycat. Maybe that's why the news didn't cover this bombing as much as they usually would, even though it happened on Christmas Day. Because you get copycats. You get guys who see that and think, oh, yeah, I'm a nut job. I can do that too. I can blow up some place, or I can shoot up the place. That's maybe, and the guy, this Anthony Warner, this guy wanted to be famous. So even though he was going to be dead, I don't know if he realized or not, if you drive the van and crash it into a building and blow it up, then you'll probably be dead. Unless it's one of those remote control vans that you crash into some place and blow it up, But other than that, if you drive in the van and you blow it up, you're probably going to die. You're not going to survive it to be famous, dude. So I wouldn't worry about it if I was you. And that's where that's where we are in our society, is we got nut jobs crashing into stuff trying to get famous. So that happened, unfortunately. I don't think very many people were killed from that, though. But it did. Anybody killed from it is too many. The only person that should have been killed is the guy who committed the heinous act. And he is dead, so that guy did die. Yeah, if I was going to kill myself, I don't know if I'd want to blow myself up, man. That don't seem that pleasant of a way to die. I mean, a lot of people who are, I'm not encouraging anyone to commit suicide, but I'm just saying, that doesn't seem like that. That seems like a horrible way to go, like an explosion, you know, somebody blowing you up, blowing yourself up. That's like, dude, seriously? You know, you could just go streaking or something, and then just overdose on pills or something. If you could have gotten the same fame without blowing up anything off of that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, moving on. There's a doctor. His name is James Phillips, who was fired from Walter Reed Medical Center in Washington, D.C. Now, this doctor in D.C. was just let go here recently. And the reason he was let go is because he criticized President Trump driving around the medical center. Here's another thing that he did that was silly and nonsensical, talking about the president now. Back when the president contracted COVID, he found out he had COVID. He was on the campaign trail. This was before the election. Back when the president had COVID, he drove around with Secret Service in an SUV, and just so he could see his supporters outside and say hi to him. And the doctor criticized him. One of the doctors at Walter Reed Hospital. It's a veterans hospital in Washington, D.C. It's the one that's the hospital that the president went to after he got COVID and was going there to be treated for it. He had symptoms, mild symptoms, and then was tested for COVID. And went to Walter Reed to be tested, and once the news got out that the president was going to Walter Reed, some of his supporters showed up outside of the hospital, and you know, they were standing out there looking dumb, basically, with their Trump signs and MAGA hats on, T-shirts on, and you know, their flags and whatnot. So Trump hears about this or sees it on TV or something. I don't know what he was doing in the hospital, if he was watching TV or what, but he hears about it and decides to drive around the building. And the doctor, his name is James Phillips, was fired because he criticized President Trump for driving around with COVID and talking to people and putting the Secret Service's health in danger, because those guys, President Trump was in a SUV with him, and there was like 3 Secret Service guys in there. And so President Trump had COVID, but yet and still he's in there driving around with these guys who didn't have COVID. Oh man, how selfish and egotistical can you be? I mean, seriously, you have